Hi, I'm attorney Rilus Dana. In this video, I'll be discussing different ways that you can solve real estate problems. So I'm going to draw my iPad here. So my area of expertise, I deal with the distribution of assets after the death, which is called probate. There could also be other legal issues or money issues or real estate issues. So your options are is one, you can do it yourself, or two, you can hire a professional. Now, kind of in between those options, maybe you ask a friend, maybe see if there's anyone you know, but those are your choices. So what makes a professional? The definition of a professional is they're allowed to get paid for it. So to practice law, you're called a lawyer. You need a license. And in order to get that license, you have to have some education. If you want to be a basketball player or get paid for being a basketball player, then whatever licenses or education required there. Now for real estate, if you're going to buy, sell, or rent real estate to represent others, you have to have a license, which is called a realtor. That's a license to get paid for representing buyers and sellers. For a real estate professional, what I describe is someone that can do more than just sell properties on the MLS. They can solve other problems. They can give you a cash offer, terms, creative solutions, novations. A realtor gets paid commissions, and the real estate investor or the real estate pro is going to get paid. They risk getting paid after the property sells or whatever their exit is. So with the traditional realtor, I think of MLS. So I use this computer, and the real estate pro, I'll use this toolbox. Now there's always a place for selling on the MLS. So whether the REI Pro is a realtor or not, they'll definitely have that in their toolbox. They can also make cash offers, creative finance offers like seller carry, subject to the mortgage or novation agreement. The timing with the real estate professional, it can be fast or they can go on your schedule. And you get to choose versus the traditional sell with the realtor. You don't know when, it's whenever a buyer comes basically. So I always recommend starting with the real estate pro whenever we're administering a trust or doing a probate. And the people that I work with is someone that the first criteria is they're going to help regardless if they're interested in purchasing the property. What I mean by that is they can go to the property and get photos and videos. Maybe the kids or the beneficiaries are out of state. They can help with an estate sale and personal property, help with pets, and just be your boots on the ground for whatever is needed. Now, the other thing they can help with is to help establish the value or give some options of what to do with the house. That might mean selling on the MLS, or maybe depending on the condition, a cash offer may be more appropriate, or what I call a fiduciary friendly offer. So in this case study here, I want to show you what I describe as a fiduciary friendly offer. So we had a man that passed away. He owned a house and he had a trust, and the house was actually not in the trust. We had to do a probate to get it in there. There were some kids that were the beneficiaries, and one of the beneficiaries, he hired us to represent him, or the trustee hired us to represent him as the trustee. And his siblings were upset because it had been a couple of years and they still hadn't settled the estate. They hadn't sold the house and divided the assets. So one of the siblings had their own lawyer that represented them to help them, get their money. And then what I did, I brought in a real estate pro to give us what I'm now calling a fiduciary friendly offer. All right, so here's the kids down here at the bottom. We got a bonus kids. Maybe there's 3, maybe there's 4. But the way this fiduciary friendly offer works is they offered to pay a certain amount for the property plus $1,000 over the highest offer. I've also heard this referred to as the last looks. So that was the first offer we got on the property. And then one of the kids' attorneys said, "Hey, I got a guy. I got a friend in the business. Let him give you an offer." So we did that for our second offer. And then one of the kids also had a friend who was a real estate investor who wanted to make an offer. So offer number 2 was actually higher. It was $2,000 higher than the first offer. And then offer number 3 was actually $3,000 less. So what we did, we ended up accepting an offer for $3,000 over that first original amount. So we went back to the first REI Pro and said, "Hey, will you beat this offer?" In this case, he was willing to pay an extra $1,000. So that's the offer we took. And then we disclosed that to the other attorney and all the kids. We disclosed that I had a relationship with this real estate pro. Okay, so then the other attorney, once we told him that the offer that we're accepting, he was upset. He said, "Why aren't you using my guy? What's the deal here?" And the reason why is because it's not the highest offer. So since my client is the trustee of the trust, we have a fiduciary duty to get the highest and best offer for the trust. So that's what we did. We got the most for the trust. So this is a great way. In this scenario, it already been going on for a couple of years. The house is in bad shape. It wasn't ready to be marketed on the MLS. It needed some work before it could be sold. And the kids were already fighting. So that's why it was helpful to get someone that could come in there and solve the problem for us. So the type of real estate pros that I work with, again, they're willing to help. And regardless of what happens, these are the three possible outcomes. So either the REI Pro is not willing to beat the highest offer, or the second one is the REI Pro is already the highest offer, no one comes in higher, or the third option is they're willing to beat the highest offer, so then they become the highest offer. So that's why I always recommend starting with the real estate pro. If you're settling a trust or doing a probate, they can give you more options. So just because someone's a realtor doesn't necessarily mean they're a real estate pro, and the real estate pro may or may not be a realtor themselves, but they can provide that option. They will recommend that you sell it on the MLS if that is the best option. So I hope you guys found this helpful. We'll see you next time.